Let's go murder this guy. From the description that the client gave you, this must be your target, the rigger, Thorvald Enstad. You can see him waving and pounding on the plastic of his cell door, but from where you're standing, the scene is eerily silent. He looks like he's had a rough go of things. One of his eyes has been blackened and his lower lip is split wide open, not particularly surprising given the temperament of his captors. The only incongruous element is his outfit. He's decked out head to toe in patched black riding leathers. A pair of oversized studded combat boots shine in the halogen glare of the cell's lighting panels. From his style of dress, it's obvious that this dwarf is not a corporate employee. He's a Shadowrunner. Eager sighs. I always hate having to kill one of our own. Still, the job's the job. Yes, it is. All the same, it feels like we're on the wrong side of this one. Not our call, not anymore. We took the run. We have to follow through. Yes, we do. Especially after it got me killed last time. The door slides open and the stench of stale sweat assaults your nostrils. Enstad steps forward, his bloody lips curled into a smile. The soles of his boots squeak on the polished tiled floor. Free at last, thank Christ. His smile widens into a sickly grin. Tar-stained teeth shine wetly in the light. Don't think I'd warn or rescue. Whoever sent you, thank him for me. Draw your weapon. Herr Fuchs is disappointed in you. His eyes go wide. He raises his trembling hands in surrender. Whoa there, Chief. I don't know what your client told you. He said that your team botched a run, went loud too early, and got a lot of people killed. Us? We botched the run? That's bullshit, man. We did everything like we were supposed to, like always. It was that bastard's bad intel that got us hung out to dry. Sounds familiar. Please hear me out. I promise I'll make it worth your while if you do. Couldn't hurt to hear what he has to say. It doesn't matter what excuse he feeds us. Nothing can change what we have to do. A contract's a contract, Phineas Urk. His hands clasps in front of him in a sign of supplication. You can see the terror in his eyes. Our contract says we have to kill you. Sorry. But please, just hear me out. I can help you. Whatever you're getting paid, I can give you something better. Maybe we should hear him out, Chief. He's a fellow runner after all. I will help you. 10 seconds. Convince me. He wets his lips with his thick, pale tongue and clears his throat. Okay, I'm a rigger, right? Your client probably told you that already. But I'm also an inventor, a trained engineer. Fuchs probably didn't mention that, did he? Go on. I've got a little toy hidden away. Managed to stash it before those knight-errant pukes took me. My own design, totally one of a kind. I call it a pain inducer. Grade A fun for the runner who has everything. And I guarantee that you'll never find another. Let me live and it's all yours. I'll put a fucking ribbon on it for you. Then I'll disappear. Never bother any of you again, Scout's honor. Even if we'd consider going off mission, which we wouldn't. She turns her back to Enstad, staring down. Did you honestly think that we'd sacrifice our professional integrity and a 15,000 Nuyen payday for a trinket? He nods slowly. 15, huh? I can match that. You let me live and I'll pay your wage, plus the inducer. Hell, you could even tell your client I'm dead and bill him too. Double your earnings. What do you think about that? Deal! What does the pain inducer do? Induces pain, he snickers. It's a narrowband microwave projector, causes debilitating pain in a target, and screws with the electrical systems of drones and the like. Think of it like a taser, only easier to use and meaner, and a whole lot more fun. How'd you get the 15 grand? I hit a big payday a while back, put the extra cash in my rainy day fund. Trust me, pal, I can pay you the money. You help me out and I'll transfer to you myself. We just need to get back to the room where I stashed my PDA. Holster my weapon. Because I'm fucking not impressed with this place. You won't regret it, friend, promise. Eager holds her tongue and her body language speaks volumes. Tight lips, rigid pose, slight color in her pale cheeks. You've seen it before, she's fierce. Looks like you just got kicked off the team then, Eager. Enstad slows to a stop at the window. His eyes are locked on the stack of corpses piled up on the cell floor. My old team, sorry sons of bitches, but they never thought I'd be the last man standing. Why not? I'm usually right in the thick of the action, easy to get shot under those circumstances. If I hadn't been out downstairs when Kay smashed in, I'd be in that pile with them. Funny, in my experience, riggers usually stay away from the thick of combat. They tend to use their drones for that. Well, I ain't that kind of rigger. Drones ain't my thing so much. So you're a getaway driver. Blitz shoots the rigger a sidelong glance. Vehicle riggers are even less likely to be found on the front lines. Nah, I'm a spider. My specialty is taking over building systems. To do that, I need to find a data tap, and to do that, I need to charge in with the rest of them. Don't deckers usually handle that kind of thing? He chuckles. Yes, they often do. They don't do it well, mind you, but they do. Deckers can manage a building, sure, but when I rig into a security system, I become the building. Anything hardwired into the system becomes a part of me. Turrets, elevators, you name it. And then, it's time to get creative. I think we might have seen some of your signs of creativity on the way up here. He shrugs. Might have. Can't say one way or the other until you show me what we're talking about. Anyway, we should probably get moving, don't you think? I don't want to be here when more of those knight-errant bastards show up. Sounds like a double cross. As you hurry past the scene of carnage in the operating theater, a peculiar smile crosses the rigger's face. He slows to a stop and points at the dismembered body on the other side of the glass. You said that you were a spider, right? Is this your handiwork? He looks you dead in the eye, and for a moment his expression remains unchanged. Then his smile broadens, and a stream of giggles comes pouring out of him. Okay, yeah, you caught me. Red-faced, he wipes a tear from the corner of his eye. This was one of mine. Couldn't tell you how excited I was to see this stuff. Such incredible toys. It was way too good an opportunity to pass up. That doesn't look like a knight-errant employee. It looks more like a lab tech to me. He nods enthusiastically. This was a fun one. Little prick couldn't believe it when I set the autosurgeon on him. He kept trying to get away, but wherever he went, one of my arms was there. Rip, rip. And all the while he was screaming like a little girl. He must have kept at it for, 10-15 minutes? It was hilarious, man, I tell you. Glory gives you a significant glance. You can see the disgust in her eyes. I'll point out the other stuff when we see it. There was this one guy that I locked in a room with a manipulator arm. He wipes a tear from the corner of his eyes. It was fucking classic. The hell with the trinket. Letting this bastard go would be wrong, Chief. You know that. Besides which, he lied to us. There was no bad intel. This bastard is the reason why things went south with that run. I'm sure of it. Abruptly, Instad's laughter stops. The fuck are we talking about? We have a deal. If you don't want to kill him, that's fine. Let me do it. I'll help. It's what we should have done in the first place. At that moment, the door behind you slides open. A trio of figures make their way into the room. Hello? The leader of the group is an elf with Asian features. He's obviously a vat job. The bands of corded muscle that bulge out of his sleeves have a distinctly store-bought look to them. When he speaks, his voice comes out in a gravelly rumble. My, the intrepid Phineas Urk with his target in tow. What a surprise. Back the fuck up? You don't intimidate us, Phineas Urk. Even if you manage to kill us, a doubtful proposition at best. You'd destroy your own reputation in the process. Let me guess, our client sent you? Herr Fuchs sent us to check up on you. Given his recent troubles with Shadowrunners, this should not come as a surprise. The company man smiles at Enstad. The rigger shrinks back against the wall. No more than your betrayal surprises me. What happens now? You will relinquish Enstad to us. We will dispatch him quickly and cleanly as you were meant to. To kill Enstad myself! That's how we do things around here. The company man inspects the rigger's corpse, a dispassionate expression on his face. He shifts his gaze back up to you. It would appear that you might possess some small shred of integrity after all. I honor my deals. Wink, wink. I said integrity, not honor. I remain convinced that you are thoroughly dishonorable, Shadowrunner. A man of honor would not have allowed his target to live as long as you did. Whatever your motives might have been, honor was not among them. No matter, the letter of your contract has been fulfilled. Your job here is done. I will inform Herr Fuchs of the mission's completion and the circumstances surrounding it. Yeah, good work, team. Let's just get the fuck out of here. Yeah, we didn't need the wacky taser gun anyways. It's fine. We're leaving. Your trip back to the cruise bazaar is an unsettling one. Every time you close your eyes, horrible visions flash through your mind. Bodies torn apart by surgical machines. Mouths frozen open in never-ending screams. Walls coated floor to ceiling in congealing blood. And through it all, the smiling face of Thorvald Enstad. You blink, banish the visions. They're behind you now. You're on your way home. Sounds like I got some mission karma. Your PDA rings and the face of your fixer, Paul Amsel, appears on the screen. I have uncovered some terrible information. The team is assembled in the safe house. Please meet with us when you're able. How's the Civic Center? I'd like to talk to the organization. Are you accepting donations? Thank you, my friend, but no. We've grown as much as I am comfortable with for 1 year, and you have done quite enough already. Know that you have positively impacted the lives of a great many Cruise Bazaar residents, Phineas Irk. Be proud of that fact. See you later. The Phineas Irk Civic Center. That's fucking right. How's Alexander doing? He is adjusting. That's fine. We already spoke about this. You, Pegleg. Even from a distance, it is clear something is not right with Lane. Coming closer, you can see dried blood on his face and clothes, as well as a few discolored blotches that pass for bruises on troll skin. More noticeably, there is a considerable damage to the man's left prosthetic leg, which he now tends to with tools as antiquated as the leg itself. What the hell happened? Nothing, it's nothing. Someone comes at me, thinks me weak, and I show them otherwise. Leaning to one side, Lane's crutch is caked in more blood and what appears to be bits of hair. Are you sure you're alright? I've suffered far worse, as you might imagine. I don't need you or anyone else babying me. Tell me who did this to you. Just a punk with some bad ideas. Forget about it. See you later, then. Was I supposed to answer that telephone? Because I don't think I had a telephone mission on that last one. Walk away. Yeah, nothing happened. Nothing happened. There might have been a secret telephone mission that we missed. Simi! Hello, Phineas. How are you? Who gave you the shiner? I don't know what you're talking about. Do you want something? Because I've got things to do, you know. Zach says he has a new sim for me, one with aliens and a little girl I need to save. She's waiting for me and I can't let her down. Is there something going on around here? There's always something going on. It's the flux, right? It gives, it takes. Sometimes it takes more than it gives. And some things it takes are gone forever. Friends that disappear, family that dies. People like Monica. I don't much like the flux. In The Sims, you can have the same happy over and over. You can skip past the parts you don't like, or replay the good moments as many times as you want. I can't think of many parts of real life I'd want to play over, and plenty of parts I wish I could skip. Take care. Where's our friend the drug dealer? Welcome back. What's up with the bandages on your hands? Did we spike about this yet? So I've heard... No. I've got to go. Never learn more about him at this rate. Got some karma, though. Which we're spending on body after that mix-up with the running out of health. Chanced it with conjuring spells, so we're at maximum chanced it with conjuring spells. I thought I had a bunch of points in spirit control. What the fuck? No wonder he kept running away. The doctor's mad at us about that business with the ghouls, so we won't go there. We'll go see Paul. We'll go see what Paul's up to. As you step forward, the rest of your team falls silent. Amsel shifts his attention to you. You can see the worry on his face. Phineas Irk, I have new information. I'm afraid the news isn't good. Skip the preamble and tell us what you've learned. 2 years ago, a large shipment of highly lethal radioactive bioweapon disappeared en route to a storage facility in Dresden. The weapon was designated X-15. I've traced the path of the missing shipment. It was delivered to the Harfeld Manor. Well, that sounds horrible. It is. I've heard of this stuff before. Back in the service, we called it Doom. I've never run across it in the wild, but I've heard enough horror stories to know that I don't want to. The stories that you've heard are correct. This Doom is an extremely dangerous substance. He gestures to a technical document in his computer's display. I've been reading up. To this day, the story of Doom remains a cautionary tale in biotech circles. Monoclonal antibody technology is strictly regulated now, and this substance is one of the reasons why. What does it do exactly? Amsel clears his throat and reads aloud from the information on the screen. Doom kills by destroying the host's muscle tissue via radioactive decay. Each individual Doom antibody is bound to a radioactive bismuth-212 isotope. When introduced into a host, these antibodies bind to surface-level muscle tissue. The tissue is then killed with alpha radiation. The process repeats itself until the host wastes away and dies. Jesus. I've heard that Doom was deployed in a couple border skirmishes back in 41. After seeing what it did to people up close, the UCAS passed a unilateral ban on the stuff. That doesn't tell you how bad it is, nothing will. Okay, so I hesitate to ask, but what would a dragon want with this Drek? Nothing good. That much goes without saying. This development worries me, Phineas Urk. It worries me greatly. If the dragon is stockpiling bioweapons, we've got an even bigger problem than we thought on our hands. There is a moment of silence, then Dietrich speaks up. Well, in my book, this doesn't change anything. I mean, it upped the stakes in the fire if the Firewing's allowed to carry out her plans, whatever those might be. But we're going to stop her before that happens. That was always the plan. As far as I'm concerned, it's still the plan now. I agree with Dietrich. We need to focus on what's in front of us. Whatever the dragon's larger plans might be, the fact is that she is after us. We should let ourselves get we shouldn't let her... We should totally fuck up, you guys. We shouldn't let ourselves get distracted by anything else. Amsel is slow to respond. Finally, he nods. Yes, I concur. For the time being, we must continue forward, and that means that you must continue working towards raising Alice's fee. I'll leave the matter in your capable hands, Phineas Urk. When you've acquired the necessary funds and are ready to go back to the rabbit hole, let me know. From there, we'll discuss our next steps. Eager nods. Good. If you need me, I'll be getting prepped for the next run. Right behind you. Come on, Glory, let's go. Now, you never got back to me about Frau Mueller. How did the meeting go? I accepted the job. Any ideas on how to tackle this? Yes, a few. Frau Mueller has provided us with detailed information on the facility. I've vetted the information, and it seems to hold up. Based on this intel, I have formulated what I believe will be an effective strategy to bring down the building. According to Mueller's intel, the facility is extraordinarily well guarded. Whatever this bloodline project is, the Azis have spared no expense to defend it. The facility is patrolled by Az Technology's internal security personnel. On their own, they would pose a challenge, but I don't doubt that you could brute force your way through them. Unfortunately, you will not be on your own, as Technology has purchased one of Knight Errance's more expensive security contracts as an additional line of defense. So kicking in the front door is out then. I should say so. I've pulled some strings with an old contact of mine, and he's provided me with the address of a small software developer, OTK International. They write the firmware updates for Knight Errant's comm systems, and their defenses should be considerably weaker than Az Technology's. My contact has informed me that OTK stores an off-site hard copy of every firmware update it develops for data security purposes. My suggestion is this. You hit the offices of OTK International and reduce their computers to slag. In the interim, I will have the hard copy of their next update replaced with a compromised version. When OTK's next update goes live, our compromised version will be pushed out to Knight Errant. When you hit the Az Technology facility, I'll be able to track Knight Errant via their comm links. This should make the run much more manageable. He fishes in his pocket for something. A moment later, he produces a corporate ID with your face on it. This will get you through the front door of the office park that contains OTK International. My contact was only able to provide me with one card, so you'll need to let the rest of your team in through a side door. Alright, that sounds like a plan. Very good. OTK's offices aren't far from here. You should take the U-Bahn there when you're ready. Do I have any more jobs I'm allowed to take? Check your inbox for new messages. Regarding one last DVD, the screen flickers to life and Mallet's face appears. She wears a plastic smile. Hoy again, Phineas Urk. Well, I've recovered one last DVD for you, but I'm afraid that's all you're going to get. You might as well use the rest as coasters. They're all beyond repair. If you look on the table beside your DVD player, you'll find the disc that I've salvaged. She pauses. A slight frown crosses her face. To be completely honest, that was a lie. To recover this last disc, I was forced to subcontract. Schrody is a brute of a man. I am unimpressed with his manner, and his poor hygiene disgusts me, but he is very good with old things such as this. I'll credit where it's due. The message ends and the image fades. You find yourself back at the inbox. Jobs directory. Claim payment for the pharma cleanup job. You submit the job as finished and await your client's response. A few moments later. No sense in mincing words. Your job performance was satisfactory at best. Your fee will be transferred immediately. Enjoy it while it lasts, because you'll never work for us again. Get fucked. 15,000. 7,000 in the Alice Fund. I think the Alice Fund doesn't have enough. Ooh! No, never mind. That's the one I'm on right now. Son of a bitch. Shadow Lane BBS. Post pay data for sale. Post the Sharing Pharma AG chemical research data. Okay. Go back. We're done. Status of the Alice Fund. Need another $10,000. Walk away. $7,000 to my name. I can't really spare it. Eyes you warily. Her expression is guarded. Phineas Urk, you need something? Any thoughts about that last run? She's mad. It was a nice change of pace, a simple job with a straightforward objective. At the end of the day, the whole thing was pretty by the numbers. The rigger died, we got paid. And everyone went home happy. It's a win in my book. Hoi, Phineas Urk. I've got to admit I've been dreading this. So now that you know what I've done, what I am, are you here to tell me off? I wouldn't blame you if you were. No, I'm here to just... No, I'm not here to tell you off. I wanted to check in and see how you were doing. Not great, struggling. About how you'd expect. I've been thinking about your story and I have a question. You've escaped from Harrow, but he's still out there. If you're looking to atone for your past, don't you think shutting him down would be a good place to start? Yeah. The caution evaporates from Glory's face as she considers your words. Yeah, you know, after we've gotten ourselves out of the situation that we're in, I might be able to right some of the wrongs that I've committed under Harrow. So what would you suggest? You should wipe out the cult, starting with Harrow. As long as he's alive, he can just start all this all over again. Save as many kids as you can, but the ones that are too far gone will have to be put down. Harrow needs to die. I don't want any other kids hurt or killed, but Harrow... That bastard has to pay for what he did to me. She stops as if suddenly unsure of herself. A moment later, a newfound confidence seems to seize her. She looks at you and there is fire in her eyes. He has to pay what he did to all of us. I won't let this happen again. He needs to die. You're damn right he does. Now let's get to work. When we're done here, you can take as much time hunting down Harrow as you want. Let's. What did you think about that last run? We've got a job to prepare for. He doesn't want to fucking talk. Talk to our pal Dietrich. Back when we took on Humanists, you said that you fought in the Night of Rage. I'd like to hear more about that. He nods and fishes in his jacket pocket for his flask. Alright, boss, we can talk about it. So I already mentioned that Berlin's punks and anarchists joined forces to fight off the racists, right? And after a long bloody fight, we beat him. What I didn't mention is how I figured in all of this. I'm an anarchist at heart, always have been. But at the time, I fit squarely into the punk camp. I was 32 at the time. Messerkampf was still touring, not as much as we did when we were kids, but we had a following. I guess I was sort of an elder statesman for the scene. When we rallied to fight the racists, my followers came along for the ride. Bunch of young kids all full of piss and vinegar and the immortality of youth. I was full of that good old Dragon Slayer spirit, pissed off and itching for a fight, and so I led those kids into the fray. They waded into the riot right alongside me, yelling and screaming with their fists in the air. I don't remember a whole lot of the fight itself, boss, but I do remember the aftermath. A lot of the kids that followed me had grown up listening to my music. They had all of my attitude, Phineas Urk, but none of them had my magic. And youthful enthusiasm is no defense against a knife or a handgun. I left the punk scene for all the reasons I told you, boss, but there was a bigger reason, and I saw it in those kids' broken bodies. This road that I'm on, it leads to the grave. I've got the power to make it a leisurely trip, but make no mistake, that's where I'm headed. Those kids tried to follow in my footsteps, and they wound up sprinting ahead of me instead. Better for me to stay out of the public eye and stick to the shadows. My stint as a role model was ill-advised. Any thoughts about that last run you didn't get to come on? Our time in there made me happy that I don't have to spend much time in hospitals, I'll tell you that. There was not a single aspect of that building that didn't make me uneasy. Anyway, that sick bastard of a rigger is dead and we got paid. Feels like a win to me. Yeah, I have, boss. It's an interesting idea, but there are risks. I'm thinking that this might not be the best time to approach him about it. He's the source of my magic, remember. If our discussion turned into an argument, he could take all that magic back in a heartbeat. And then where would we be? From what you've told me, no. Oh, no, wait. From what you've told me about the Dragon Slayer, I don't think he'd like you running... He don't like the way you're talking. Since when has he ever encouraged you to back down from a fight? You've got a point there, boss. He wouldn't want me to back down ever. Not even from him. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'll ask the Dragon Slayer about shifting priorities, I guess you'd say. Taking on some deserving organization and calling off the hunt for something more impressive than the Firewing. Of course, a fight like that would never really end. I'm never going to bring down a corp or a Paula Club all on my lonesome. But maybe that's not a bad thing. It'd take a lot of the guesswork out of life. I don't know, boss. If you have any thoughts about this, I'd love to hear them. Why tie yourself to a specific group? I say, keep it fluid. Stomp anyone that threatens the flux. Isn't that what Berlin is all about? He cocks his head. Interesting. That's a different approach, but I like it. Hang on a second, I'll ask. He closes his eyes and concentrates. Minutes pass. Slowly, a smile creeps across his face. Yeah, I think that he'd like this plane just fine. That was it? That was all it took? The Dragon Slayer doesn't mince words, boss. If he didn't like the plane, he would have told me. Dietrich's grin widens. He looks more at ease than you've ever seen him. Well, boss, I've got myself a plane and a new target to boot. That's assuming, of course, that any of us make it through this current predicament alive. You could talk to your punk friends again now. Yeah, boss, I was thinking the same thing. Maybe I could give back a bit and fix some of the damage I caused in my misspent youth. And after we're finished dealing with this crisis in front of us, that is. It's a good thought anyway, I'll keep it in mind. Any updates on Alexander? Nothing new. Okay. Oh, there's one last DVD. Whoa. The fourth DVD. Play track 1. This is it. The interview. Took some digging to find it, but here he is, my big brother, back in his prime. The note disappears and for a moment the screen goes blank. Suddenly, image of a news correspondent flashes onto the screen, accompanied by a brief orchestral flourish. A timestamp in the upper right corner of the screen reveals the date, August 22nd, 2012. Thank you for joining us. We are coming to you live from the ruins of Sangerhausen, the 5th Harz mountain town to be sacked by the dragon Fierschwing. Standing by my side is the head of Deal Defense, Dr. Adrian Vauclair. Dr. Vauclair has been hailed as a leader in the effort to bring down Fierschwing and end her reign of terror. Dr. Vauclair, tell us about your efforts to bring down the dragon. Killing the monster has proven difficult, to say the least. Her speed and maneuverability in the air are extraordinary. Her scales repel small arms fire and her breath can melt steel. Our R&D teams have been working around the clock to devise a weapon capable of downing the beast. In the interim, we are providing material support for the Luftwaffe's attempts to shoot her down via conventional means. Herr Vauclair, why are you directing Deal's defense energies to killing the Fierschwing? Are there corporate interests at play in this? Corporate interests? No, this is a matter of human interest. Innocent lives are being extinguished at an appalling rate. I am in a position to help put an end to the slaughter, and so I must. It really is that simple. Dr. Vauclair, you must understand my skepticism. Our viewers aren't looking for a PR statement. They came to us for the truth. I'm afraid that I don't have time to go back and forth on this. Your viewers can think whatever they wish. My concern is in helping the people affected by this tragedy. In that case, Dr. Vauclair, I thank you for sharing your valuable time with us. You're very welcome. To the viewers at home, stay safe and watch the sky. Salvation is coming, I promise. Again, that was Dr. Adrian Vauclair, CEO of Deal Defense. Dr. Vauclair is the chief architect of the military's current plan to bring down the dragon Fierschwing. Stay tuned for more late-breaking news on the battle for the Harz Mountains. We'll be right back. Track 2. Holy shit, I just stumbled onto some of Adrian's old lab notes. I'm not going to say how I came across these. Someone might get hurt if the wrong people watch this. But I've checked them against some of Adrian's old handwriting samples, and they're legitimate. Holy shit, this is big. Alright, back up, slow down, breathe. He takes a moment to calm himself. So these notes, they pretty much confirm something that I'd always suspected. The Luftwaffe didn't shoot down Fierschwing. I mean, they tried. They pumped thousands of rounds into the air around her, and they lobbed rockets at her for months. Lost a lot of attack helicopters and fighter craft in the process. But none of these things were responsible for taking her down. The Dragonfall was caused by an experimental warhead, one that Adrian and his Deal Defense think tank designed. I don't understand the science of it, not even a little bit, but from what I can piece together, it looks like they designed some sort of chemical radiological agent that acts on the metagene. I don't think that they fully understood what they were doing. It was 2012 after all. I mean, the process worked, but I don't know if they understood why it worked. Anyway, when a warhead full of this stuff comes into contact with a dual-natured creature, like a dragon, say, it drives a wedge between the creature's physical and astral forms. The body gets put into a sort of hibernation state, and the spirit is forced out. It also looks like it can maintain this process of separation indefinitely, and that's a pretty horrifying thought. A discorporated body's supposed to die in a few hours. I've heard horror stories about ghost-walking mages getting trapped in astral space, unable to rejoin with their meat. I heard they went crazy from the pain. If what I'm reading is accurate, it's entirely possible that Fierschwing has been trapped outside of her body for over 40 years. Winters pushes his chair back and slaps the table in front of him. This is why Adrian was so cagey about the subject of Fierschwing after the Dragonfall. He knew for a fact that she was still alive, even if only technically. Her body crashed down in the SOX, sure, but she wasn't dead. The government wouldn't let Adrian tell the public about any of this, of course. It'd interfere with the lie that they were feeding us, that the Firewing was dead, that everyone was safe, and that people should stop hiding in their basements and just get back to work again. But privately, he always said that she was still out there, somewhere deep in the SOX. I'd always thought that he was paranoid, but I was wrong. He knew. So what does all of this mean? It means that the stories I got from the ghost rats suddenly sound a lot more plausible. It means that Fierschwing is definitely alive, and that Adrian's disappearance is unquestionably tied to her survival. It also means that Germany is in deep shit, because if Fierschwing is still alive, it's only a matter of time before she rears her ugly head again. That's enough for one night. I'm gonna go get drunk.